What's up, brother?
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Right.
Thank you.
Can you hear me well?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well. Looking
Awesome.
good. Got a great smile. Everything ready to roll.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Oh man, I want to thanks for allowing me to interview you and allow people to get to know you a little bit better. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat with you today and share my story and just, have some fun.
Well, I like to have fun, so you're with the right person.
Perfect.
Yeah. The only thing I have to do, what I do to start it off is I'll do a quick intro, and then I'll make sure everybody know, what they're listening to or watching, because this is going to be uploaded on, all the podcast platforms as I explained to you, and you'll get a copy of it also. So, whatever you want to do with it, you can do it. It's yours. It's yours. It's your work.
I'm gonna be sharing it. We're sharing it, recycling it, let people catch up on the conversation if they missed it.
All right. Well, hey, I'm going to go ahead. Only thing I have to do is put my glasses on to read a couple things real quick, and then I'll take them off, because I have to use them to read, man. I have to use them to read. So all those scripts and reading the books all over the years and stuff have worn these eyes out. So.
And everything's tiny, too. I don't know why, but they make everything so tiny.
Man, on the set, that's when it really annoys me. They'll give you the sides, and it's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, and they're like 4x6 sides or whatever, and you're trying to look at the scene numbers and what is the dialogue. Yeah, all of this stuff.
Yeah, they make it hard for a brother. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this party started, man. Thank you very much. We'll go for about 45 minutes. And if you feel like you want to answer questions also from the audience while they're viewing, feel free. If I, point something out, this is your time.
Awesome.
Your time.
All right, awesome.
All right. What's up, everybody? I want to thank you guys for watching, for listening to RDC Speak Life Sessions. My name is Rodney. I am the host and creator of the show. Make sure you like on Apple, subscribe, listen to it on Spotify, Google, Castbox, Anchor. Make sure you rate the podcast when you listen to it. Brother needs ratings. That's the only way podcasts grow. You got to rate it. Also, check it out on my IG Live. You'll be able to check it out on my man. Look at Francesca jumping in. On my man, Andre Hammonds, IG Live as well. Who I have with me today. Thank you, guys. I have an incredible guest with me today. He is an LA-based fashion lifestyle expert featured on The Look All-Stars. Some of his clients include Dort Kemsley of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Deontay Wilder, heavyweight boxing champion, and you can see him on Fox Soul and our very own Pop Fusion TV, which we have Francesca in the house, who is the founder of that wonderful network. Without further ado, please show your love. Fist bumps. I see the love eyes, everything, from my man, Andre Hammonds.
What an introduction. Oh, my God.
Well, I like to show love.
Who is this person? Who is he talking about here?
I like to show love. People need to know. You've accomplished a lot, so you should celebrate that. Every moment of life. I celebrate every single win I get in life.
Absolutely. No matter how big or small, you got to celebrate them all.
That's right. So, man, we just going to get right into it. And, just share a little bit about, like, if we're in that plane, we're flying above about 30,000 feet right now. So give us a little flyover of, how you got to this point in your life and working, as a celebrity, fashion stylist, consultant, expert, everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what? It's so funny. I'm a big believer that every journey is ordained and it's destined and it's, it's heading somewhere. Whether you know it or not, where you're going, you're headed somewhere. And I would say, I think I first got my start in this business. I worked many, many years in retail. I studied fashion merchandising in college. And those are the kind of things that gave me my foundation.
Yes.
Also through that space, I started to get into like modeling and hosting and being a personality. And that's really, I think, what made the difference for me. Once I started kind of being a model, I'm originally from Tennessee. Let me start there. I'm from Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee. I went to a HBCU, the Tennessee State University in Nashville, Tennessee.
All right.
And that is really what gave me my platform to want to be in fashion and in style. I was a assigned model in Tennessee, so I had a couple agencies that were working on my behalf. I was doing bridal campaigns and
Wow.
commercial campaigns, and I really had gotten like a decent traction. I moved here to Los Angeles kind of with that in mind, thinking like, okay, you know what, maybe I want to go forward with the modeling thing. As you know, LA is super competitive. Everybody's a model. Everybody looks gorgeous. Everybody's super in shape. And I could not get an agency. I could not get like an agency behind me to help me secure bookings and to really forward my career. And I
Yeah.
really started to think like, what can I do with these experiences that I have of working on set, working with talent? I had gained a great bit of knowledge just working on set and being behind the scenes, so to speak. And so I
Yes.
was like, well, what can I do with that? I met a fashion stylist at my retail job, and that is really what set me on this journey of being a stylist. He came into my retail job. He wanted to use some clothing. We didn't even really lend clothing out like that, but I convinced my manager at the time, like, hey, like, let's really give this guy, it's a black guy too. I'm like, let's give him a chance. Like, let's loan him some clothes. Like, let's see what he could do.
Yeah.
He was happy that I was able to facilitate that. So he said, well, come hang out on set with me and get a feel for what it is that I do. And really, literally, from there, I just networked with people. And the next day, I had my first official client who happened to be on a reality show. And I had never had
Wow.
a styling client. I had never really done it outside of that experience with him.
Now, yeah, the very next day you get the celebrity client. What's going through your mind? Because we want to be ready for the moment, but then the
I was
moment
not
comes.
ready at all. I was totally not prepared. I really didn't. I had a general, I would say I consider myself to be somebody who's resourceful, somebody who can kind of figure things out.
Yes.
And that's really what I just did. I followed stylists that were already, on Instagram and that had clients and stuff like that. So I started to do my research, trying to figure out like, well, where do I get clothes from? How do I build these relationships that it takes for me to be a successful stylist? And I just really reached out to people, pleaded my case, let them know who I was working with, what kind of arrangements could we come up with. Whenever you work for yourself, you have the benefit of flexibility in creating solutions that work for you. And so I wanted to partner people and find solutions that worked for what I needed, which was clothes for my clients, and then what they needed, whether it be marketing, whether it was a television placement or whatever it was, and try to find out how I could bring value to different brands and clothing lines and things like that.
Wow. So, you said a whole lot up in there. It's a whole lot to take in. But I just love the fact that you talked about a hunger, because that's what you got to have in this industry. Believe
Absolutely.
me, trust me, I know you got to have a hunger that when people are sleeping, you are awake planning. You're preparing. So, what would you consider after working with that client? What was the next step? What happened after that? Because I'm curious.
Yeah, after that, I was really, number one, impressed with my own ability to kind of figure out my next steps in terms of finding clothes, finding the connections and things like that. And I knew that it was something that I wanted to further. My
Yes.
particular client that I was working with, she was on a reality show called LA Hair with Kim Kimball. She was one of the stylists in the salon. She actually did not even live in LA. They flew her out from Georgia to participate in the show.
Oh, wow.
And so I started to think like, okay, you know what, maybe I can reach out to some other people and offer them my services based off of what I've been able to do with this one client. And so I just really started cold pitching myself basically to other talent, to other publicists, to people who could help kind of facilitate this journey. Yes. I ended up securing another client who happened to be on another reality show. At the time, she was a rapper. And she was on a show called The Sisterhood of Hip Hop. Yeah. So during that process, I was able to gain another client who also was not from LA. She was from Atlanta. So that actually worked in my benefit because my other client was from Atlanta. So they knew each other. So that was something that kind of worked in my favor. And then I just ended up securing another client. So now here I am, never have been a stylist before. I have two clients that are on reality shows. I'm now finding myself in this space where I am being filmed on the reality shows and it was like walking into just like a world that I knew nothing really about. Like I had participated in docuseries and reality, but to be in it in such a heavy capacity, like they're filming 5 days a week, 5 days out of the week, I'm on the set behind the scenes, meeting Queen Latifah and MC Light and Tank and all of these major people, and I'm just trying to take it all in, you know.
Man, my head will be spinning with all that happening so quickly. Like, how long were you in LA when all this stuff started happening? Because you and I both know when people come out to LA, it could happen the next day or it could happen 10 years later. We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, you know what? For me, this was all happening within the first year that I was in LA. Like, this was all, if it might have been less than the year mark or right at the year mark.
Yes.
I was fortunate enough that when I moved to LA, I had a great family support already here. Although I'm from Tennessee, my grandparents lived here in LA. I had about 8 or 9 aunts and uncles and like a slew of cousins and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. So I had a sense of support. I also did not live directly in the city of LA when I initially moved. I lived in the Riverside area. So I feel like out the gate when I came, I had more of a sense of what it's like to live in California as a normal person, I guess you could say, and not really jaded by, you know what I mean, like the glitz and the glam of everything. Because out there, you know, people go to jobs regular. You know, my aunt that I was living with at the time, she had a traditional 9-to-5 job. My cousins were, you know, in college, so there was not a lot of entertainment just like out the back. So it kept me humble, it kept me grounded. It was like, okay, you got to go out here and get a regular job. You know, I have to establish myself in just a traditional space. You know what I mean?
Well, I love to hear that. And now, you didn't bring no barbecue though when you came from Memphis, I'm pretty sure. So.
Nah, not this time. I might have to smuggle some back the next time I go.
Because it's hard to find some Memphis style barbecue, I'm pretty sure. But now, so you've had all these things happen in your career, which have been incredible. And now all of a sudden you have this clothing line, right? And it's called Hem, right?
Mm-hmm. Shop Hem.
Yep, Shop Hem. Can you break this down? Because I was checking it out and I'm impressed. So I'm like, yo, I like what I see. So
thank you so much about that. Shop Hem, that's kind of like my newest venture. I think what I learned very quickly through my trajectory in this business was that I had an ability to be a business person, and I had ability. People were tapped into what it was that I was doing. They were tapped into my journey, whether it be, you know, they seen some of the success that I had and they were intrigued by it, or maybe people just didn't think that I was capable. You know what I mean? So I think that I had gotten people's attention in a particular way through my journey as a fashion stylist. After having clients or whatever, initially those first 2 clients that I told you about and being on the shows, I really had to take a step back. Because things were happening so fast and I knew that I was in a unique space where I'm getting clients and I'm doing all these things, but I don't really know the business of styling. I don't know, you know, exactly what the protocols and the things are. And I realized that if I wanted to go further than where I was at, that I needed to take a step back and educate myself and learn. So I took a step back from taking my own clients and went and became an intern for another stylist, which was almost reversed, because most people intern first and then they get their clients. I had already had clients and been filmed for the TV show and everything, and then I went back and became an intern. So it was kind of like backwards, which that presented a whole nother set of challenges, because then some people didn't want to work with me because I had already had clients of my own. So they didn't know if I was trying to come in and, you know, poach clients, or if I'm trying to come in and poach contacts and stuff like that. So I had to educate myself and I had to learn and I had to take a step back. Though that is what really put me in a space to start launching businesses and to launch things underneath the umbrella of being a stylist. I started by having a pop-up shop, a successful pop-up shop event called the Celebrity Sipping Shop, where we had vendors who were celebrities come and sell their product at the pop-up shop. Okay. And that was kind of how I got plugged in with Deontay Wilder. We had the actress Lunel. She came through. Jennifer Williams, Basketball Wives. So we had got a lot of reputable talent to participate in the pop-up shop. And that was kind of like the first business venture that I did, right? So I'm thinking like, well, now I have a whole celebrity pop-up shop and I'm not even selling the product myself. You know what I mean? That's really where the birth of Hem started. I had always knew that I wanted to have a boutique and be a business owner. So having a platform of being a stylist, launching the boutique just kind of made sense. It gave me the opportunity to A, have a product of my own to sell to people who were tapped into what I was doing. And B, for my event series, it gave me just kind of like another avenue to create like income and revenue for myself.
I love what you said about how after things started happening so quick for you, you still humbled yourself and did an internship. You really didn't have to. You could have learned in so many different ways, but that shows humility. To me, those are the key traits that make you go further. Not in just this career, but in just in life. You were just like, I don't know it all. Let me go learn. And
absolutely,
everything you said, that just stood out to me. I was like, man, those are principles that I try to help people bring out when they talk about they want to be successful in a career. Like humility, hunger. We got a couple H's here. We might have a whole lot of H's.
We have them right there. Humility, hunger. Yeah, you do. And you got to check your ego. I learned that really quickly. I had to check my ego. Like, in my mind, and even via social media, people are like, you're Andre. You know what I mean? Like, you got clients, you're doing your thing or whatever. But in working with the next person, there is no Andre. It is essentially you're in service to someone else. And I think being of service to other people is the best way to educate yourself. Because when you're in service for other people, you have to remove yourself out of the equation, right?
Yes.
It's not about how I feel, whether I like it or not. It's about getting this task done for A, the greater good of the team, and then B, for whoever it is that you're working with. And so that was a really humbling experience.
Oh, man. You just said, okay, hunger, humility, service. Now, we got that. I'm just like, you just dropping nuggets. I hope people are listening to what you are saying, because your story is very powerful, and it talks about success doesn't just happen overnight, because you've been planning for this even before you came to LA. Because even in college, everything, you were preparing for it. People want to come out here, or whatever industry they step into, they want it to happen just like that. So although it happened for a year for you out here, you were already laying the foundation back in Memphis.
Absolutely.
So that's a salute right there.
Absolutely.
You were putting in that work. When you came to LA, I tell everybody, it's not about getting ready. You stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Absolutely.
So that's what you have done.
That's powerful, yeah. And I think that kind of one of my, I guess, like a principle that I always guide my career and my life with is just that everything matters. Everything that you do, every decision that you make, it matters, because it's all playing a piece in the grand picture. And to kind of go back to what I said earlier, you don't always know what the journey is, exactly where you're going and what it is that you're doing, but organically, the foundation that you're laying, it's all gonna add up, because it's all these things are going to a certain place, whether it be, you're in a career that you hate. That career that you hate might subsequently lead you to figuring out the thing that you love to do. So that's why every single thing that you do matters in every capacity.
Yes. It was funny, because before we did the interview today, I'm like, man, what am I going to wear? Because normally I don't even think about that, but I have a style, celebrity style. I said, man, I don't even know if this shirt is popping, but I was like, man, I need to put on something so I can, I know I got to put a t-shirt on. So, you put me under pressure. So with your clothing line, I know I see it on Instagram. I know you have a website. Do you ever have like different fashion shows or somewhere where we can come watch, or nowadays with the social distancing, where we'd be able to view like something to draw people in?
We've participated in fashion shows in the past. Unfortunately, because we are such a new business, like I literally started my business at the end of last year around November. Okay. So we had only been in existence maybe 3 or 4 months before Covert happened. So it was really very a short amount of time to get a lot of stuff accomplished. We have done like a little bit of fashion shows, but right now we do live a lot in the digital space. So, hopefully as time progresses over the next couple months, we can find some new and innovative and fresh ways to bring the content to our viewers.
Well, the way you work, I'm pretty sure it'll be done before this year is out. Who would you say is your biggest influence for you to get you to this point in your career?
So this is a very personal thing for me, and I would say the biggest influence for me would have to be my mom. Okay. My mom passed away in 2013 of breast cancer, and that is kind of one of the things that set me on the journey of moving to LA. Mm-hmm. I just kind of wanted a fresh new start. But growing up, my mom, especially in my eyes, was just super glamorous. She was super hardworking. I used to always want to pick out my own clothes, to go to school or whatever. And she just empowered me to do those things. I think she recognized early on that, I maybe was a little different than kids in the neighborhood or like my cousins and stuff like that. And I feel like she found the best ways to nurture that and found the best ways to make me feel loved and supported and all of the things that ultimately would benefit me on this journey or whatever. So she is my absolute inspiration. She is my absolute driving force. And it is the motivation, honestly, to do any and everything that I've done in my life is just honestly to make the most out of probably one of the most impactful moments in my life.
Man, I love that, man. Props to the moms out there, man. You know, the dads too. But you know what you just said about your mother, because they're your biggest cheerleader, man. They really
absolutely.
Are. You know,
you realize that they're almost superhuman. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
It's a challenge to take care of yourself. So I can't imagine having to be a parent and to have kids and to have all those other things, all these other obligations and responsibilities. I have a hard time dealing with just me. So I'm like, I salute her now. You think back on it in a way of like, oh, you know, as a kid, you say things and you do things and you make mistakes or whatever. And then you look back at things as an adult and you be like, dang, how did she do that? You know, how did she feed 5 people with whatever her salary was? Or how did she manage to buy a home and get a car and do all of these things? So I salute her just through my career, through my life, through my words, through my actions, through everything.
Man, our parents showed us how to make $1 out of 15 cents often. So,
yes.
You know, so I have so much respect for my parents. I know you do. So you have so much of this just happened for you in your career and in the future. What's your plan like 5 years from now? I know you got the clothing line. What do you dream of? What do you dream of happening now with these next steps? Because, man, my head would still be spinning right now with what's happened so far.
It's been a whirlwind. a whirlwind. I know for me, in my career, I've always had this connection to reality TV. And so just through my clients, through ultimately landing in reality, like I was always a big Housewives watcher, right? That was kind of like my show. I watched all of them, Atlanta, Beverly Hills, all of these different ones. So when I found myself being in a position of working with a housewife, filming for the show, and then for it to actually make it to TV, because you know how that stuff is. Like you film stuff and you might film a bunch of stuff and it might never see the light of day. But here I was, the stuff that I filmed actually on Bravo, on Housewives, like people blowing me up, like you're on Housewives right now, da 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 da. So that was kind of like one of those big platforms that I never really saw myself attaining, and then there I was in the mix of that. So I said that to say that ultimately I would want to find myself in a space where I can secure a recurring spot on TV. I want to be more than just a stylist, although fashion is the cornerstone of my brand. I always say that I'm more than a stylist. I'm a business person. I'm an entrepreneur. And so I want to see myself in a space, in a television space where I can highlight those skill sets and then help and motivate other people to accomplish the task and the goals that they have for themselves. Because like I said before, we're all in service to people. And I feel like part of my service is to inspire and to motivate people and let them know that you can do whatever it is that you want to do. It just takes a little bit of elbow grease and a little hard work, and you can absolutely get there.
I love that. You know, I got my elbow grease right here. I'm working it right now. All right, man. So you basically have shared so much with me, and I'm just really inspired. But I definitely want to hear more, because we've talked about what you got planned for the future. We've talked about some steps that people can take. Now, when you think about this, are there ways where you're able to reach back and mentor anybody else who's looking at you right now, especially somebody who's gone to college with you, something like that?
Oh, absolutely. I tell anybody that's watching this or that sees it, please do not hesitate to contact me on Instagram. Send me your questions. Let me know, where you at within your journey, things that I can facilitate and I can assist on. I enjoy bringing people into my process to assist me, to help me, to intern with me, to get the knowledge. Because again, the knowledge and those things are what's going to make the difference between, your career where you are today and your career where you want to be down the road. So I definitely encourage anybody to reach out to me. I try to participate, people that have events or projects, or especially in this digital space, if I can lend myself to whatever your cause is, I'm always down. And I just encourage you just to reach out and pitch it to myself, to anybody, because you never know until you put it out into the universe.
Man, Now, what would you say is your biggest lesson? I don't like to say failures because I think everything we've experienced in life, just like you said, it prepares us for where we're going. What would you say is your biggest lesson that you've learned in your life to this point?
You know what? I think the biggest lesson that I learned is in due time.
Mm.
I think that's the biggest lesson I learned, because I feel like a lot of times we're eager to do things, therefore we rush to decisions. We find ourselves in positions that we maybe shouldn't be in, or doing things that we maybe shouldn't do because we're trying to speed up the process. And so I think when you realize in due time, then it allows you to root for other people during their successes. It takes any envy out of situations, and it puts you in a mental space where you know that the things that you want in your life, they will come to you. You just have to continue to work, and it will happen in due time.
You know, I love that mindset because I really subscribe to Zig Ziglar, who was a motivational speaker. He's passed on now, but he once said that if you help enough people in this life get what they're looking for, you'll get what you're looking for. It's that simple. It's like just really just being there. You cheer for other people. You don't hate on people. I tell everybody, it's enough pie for everybody. Just give me my slice. Give me my slice. You eat too much pie, you get fat anyway. You get out of shape.
Give me exactly. Too much of a good thing is always bad.
Exactly. You know, let's balance this out. So I have some more questions for you. Now, we need to get some funny stories because I know in the fashion industry, there's some stuff that can make us laugh. So come on, share something with it, brother.
So I think probably for me, the funniest thing that happened was one time I had a photo shoot, right? And so the guy, he's like a middle-aged actor. He was an actor on the TV series Mad Men. So the publicist sends me all these sizes. She's like, oh, he's a 33 waist. You know, he wears a medium shirt. I show up to set. This guy has a big old pot belly. He wears like a size 30, 36 or 38. And I have all of these like medium to small clothes. So basically I showed up to a shoot and none of the clothes fit the talent. So at this point I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out in my mind. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, like these sizes are absolutely wrong. People now are like, the publicist is freaking out. She's like, oh, the clothes don't fit. Da, 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 da. The talent is starting to freak out. And so I just had to start thinking quickly on my feet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are we going to do? Luckily, I tried not to try to go into every situation being over prepared. So even if they say he's a medium, I still might bring a large or extra large shirt just in case. So now I'm like pulling from the reserve, trying to like figure it all out. Like I'm borrowing pants that he brought, and I'm trying to do everything like on the slide so nobody pick up on the fact that something is going wrong. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And luckily everything turned out to be great. The shots end up being used for a cover shoot, but I was freaking out. I'm thinking like everything's too small, so what we about to do here? Like I'm a stylist, but I don't work magic, like, you know. So that was probably one of the most interesting shoots that I had. I think another very funny one was I hired an assistant one day.
Oh, boy.
The assistant goes outside to smoke a cigarette, allegedly. He comes back in, and someone goes, oh, it smells like someone went outside and had a great time. I am appalled. Like, I'm thinking like, oh, you know, my assistant would never do that. You are kidding, da 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 da. I'm packing up the car with my assistant, and my assistant goes, man, I thought everybody was going to know I went outside and smoked a joint. I'm like, you did what? Oh. So that was probably another really, really crazy situation that, you know, almost jeopardized my career. It almost jeopardized my assistant's life. You know, it was just a bad, it was a bad situation. It's like now I can look back and laugh on it, but at the moment it was quite upsetting.
Doing one of these, dabbing
doing all what, you know, especially when you're in a situation that is, you are a black person, right? And you're in a predominantly white state and things like that. You always feel the pressure of having to go above and beyond. So I don't just need to be good. I got to be extra good. I can't come with just 3 looks. I got to come with 23 looks. You know what I mean? Just to prove that I am just as equal, if not better, than my white counterpart. You understand what I'm saying? So that situation was upsetting on so many levels. And what I was trying to get this person to understand is that you are a representation of me.
Yes.
So, you know, you live, you learn.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You still with me, Andre? He'll be right back. I think it's, look, there we go. Little buffer. You right back? You hear, Andre? Okay, you good?
There we go. We back.
Okay, good. Yes, you are back. You hear
Can
me?
you hear me?
Okay, great. I just want to make sure because I see a little buffer, so I just want to make sure you're still cool. I think he just paused. Bam. Okay, now we good. We good?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I'll talk for a second. Uh, One thing I live by, I have a mantra that I live by, and it's leave on E. I basically want to leave this life completely empty of every God-given gift I have. I'm not making the cemetery rich by my dreams and my desires, because the cemetery is said to be one of the wealthiest places on earth because it's full of everybody's dreams and goals. Do you have a mantra that you live by, something that just drives you or keeps you going every single day? Do you have something like that?
I think the whole everything matters is probably my biggest mantra. And I think the thing, like I mentioned before, that drives me is just wanting to make the most out of the cards that we're dealt. I feel like I'm a mindset person. I believe that the statement is true. It's really not about what happens to you, but more so how you handle it. And so
Yeah.
I really live my life and I operate in my career with those kind of things in mind, so I try not to be a victim and of circumstances. I try not to let things that maybe are undesirable, I don't let those things fuel how I try to feel like emotionally. I try to separate myself from my feelings a lot. I try to be introspective. I think that's a
Yes.
big thing to me. I don't really think about what people have done to me. I think about what I could have done to handle the situation different, to mitigate any type of fallout. I'm very introspective in that way. It's very rare that you will hear me talk about, oh, this person did this to me and da 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 da. I'll be flipping back on myself like, so at what point maybe should you have done X, Y, and Z? I try to challenge myself in those ways. I live by accountability. I hold myself accountable and I hold the people around me accountable.
All right. Now, with the state of everything that's taking place in Hollywood and our nation, and it seems like everybody want to give the black people opportunities now. How do you
opportunity?
Feel? Yeah, opportunities now. How do you feel about the opportunities for your industry, your profession? Do you feel like it's going to increase with more representation on the sets, working the TV shows, working the fashion shows, everything such as that?
I hope so. I hope it does open the conversation for diversity, open the conversation for, I do, the thing that people don't know about me is I do work a lot in the film space. I do a lot of wardrobe and costume design in the film space for independent features, movies that you'll see like on Lifetime, Hallmark. Some have gone to Netflix, and a lot of those films that I've worked on, it's rare that you see leading people of color. So I'm hoping to see more leading people of color. I'm hoping to see more costume designers and wardrobe people of color working on sets, and just to take away the stigma. I think that one thing that I believe is that there are good apples and there are bad apples. And I think that we all have an obligation to represent the culture in the best light possible, because
Yes.
when one person go out and make us look bad, we all look bad. And so what I hope happens is that we challenge ourselves to arise with a sense of integrity, you know what
Yes.
I mean, from the time that we show up, from the time that we leave, so that we will be welcomed more into these spaces. You know what I mean? I feel like the more that we knock down the barriers, knock down the misconceptions, knock down the stereotypes, the more people won't have a choice but to recognize the value that we bring. I try to make sure that in any situation I go into, I bring value. You want to be a value, not an asset to somebody.
You gotta add value wherever you go. And I always tell people, I set the temperature for whatever room I step in.
Exactly.
I don't care what it is before. Once I walk in, I set the temperature. So it's very critical that we show up, we handle ourselves professionally, and we're ready. We're ready. We're not missing on anything. And one thing I always tell everybody, when you go to set, you better show a huge amount of respect to the stylist and makeup. Because if you don't show them love, you're not going to look that good.
You ain't going to look that good. You ain't going to feel that good. You ain't going to execute that good. And 9 times out of 10, you will not be cat again. And you're right, though. You should treat everybody with respect, from the PA to, the person that's driving the shuttle van, driving you to set. Like, I feel like we get in these spaces where you're like, oh, I'm the talent. And you need to top down, or, just like all those things. And I just believe in showing everybody respect and giving respect because I want to receive respect. And I won't accept anything less than that.
Oh, me neither. I don't tolerate that. I believe everybody deserves the same amount of respect, love, admiration. You walk wherever I'm at. If I'm at work, on set, if I'm at home, if I'm at the store, everybody gets the same love. So I really believe in that. And I can tell, you got that down south, that southern hospitality too. Even though you're in LA now, you still got the southern hospitality, which I know it's a different thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. It's southern to my core. And I'm so proud about it and so happy about it. I'm so happy about the things and it's funny because you find yourself in spaces where you question, your morals and who you are and what you believe in and what you want to stand up for. And I'm so happy to have the humble beginnings that I have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just to know that these things that I'm doing, they don't define me. My career, although it's very important to me, at the end of the day, what's more important to me is being a good person, treating people well, treating my family well, treating my friends well, being a role model for my cousins and things like that. Those are the things that hold value to me because I'm from a small town. Everybody know everybody. You walk up the street and somebody say, oh, ain't such and such your granddaddy, oh, ain't such and such your auntie. Like, everybody know everybody, and so you have to conduct yourself in their way all the time. So it's just ingrained in me and I'm thankful for it.
And plus you liable to catch a switch. You get back home and you ain't treating people right.
Absolutely. They'll give you a whooping and then tell your folks about it afterwards. They ain't asking no permission.
You ain't too old. I have another question for you. If you were the lead singer of an R&B group, what would be the title of the group and the name of the group, and what would be the title of your debut album? Come on, tell us.
Okay.
And why would it be that?
And why? Okay.
Yeah.
So the name of my group would be The Movers and the Shakers.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and the name of our debut album will be called Shake That Thing. And so, listen, it's not what you're thinking, right?
Okay.
So we're the movers and the shakers because when you come into any situation, you want to move around and you want to shake it up. You know what I'm saying? You want to move around what's currently there, and then you want to shake up the mix a little bit, bring something new, bring something fresh. And we call it our album Shake That Thing because we're coming to shake that thing up, right? We finna break it up. We finna move it. We finna make it something new. So it ain't even gonna be what it was when we first got there. So we finna shake that thing.
Would it be up-tempo, slow jam, or would it be like coming out, some R&B groups would come out with that fast up-tempo song and then they slow it down the rest of the album? How would it go?
You know what? We're gonna come in slow. You know what I'm saying? Like, how you listen to a Drake track and he might did something like sample Aaliyah for like the first 15 or 20 seconds, and you're like, okay, I'm digging this. And then next thing you know, the beat drop and then that thing knocking.
Yeah.
That's what we doing. We go, we coming in slow and smooth, give you something that you can remember, maybe a little escape or something mixed in there, and then boom, we shaking it up.
Wow. Okay, I like that. I really do. I like that. I can't wait to hear that. Now, now, like if somebody was to come to you, Andre, they'd be like, Andre, I haven't moved to LA, but I want to move to LA and get in the industry. I know you had a different story because you did have some connects here before getting here. What advice would you give to somebody who wants to move here and work in the entertainment industry? Like, we talked about the different principles, but like, it's got to be something else they got to have in them to really make it last, like Keith Sweat,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This journey is just that. It's a journey. It's not a race. So you cannot come here with an expectation of how things should happen, when they should happen. You really have to come here, I think, with the mindset of I am ready to go the distance. And the distance means that maybe one year you might have to have a 9-to-5 job. Maybe the next year you might be doing so good on gigs that you can ride it out all year just on gigs. But I think what I would advise anybody to do is to have a very solid plan, a very practical plan about how you will survive in it's feast or famine, right? You gotta be able to last when you're feasting, but then you gotta be able to last when you're in famine. And so I would say with that in mind, to have a plan about, you know, what you want to do with regards to work. What do you want to do with regards to your career, and have very methodical moves. Everything that I do is very strategic, is very calculated, is very, you know, just well thought out. The reality of it is I might style one shoot a month, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And sometimes maybe more. But the one shoot that I styled is going to be very impactful because it's going to be a magazine cover. It's going to be a spread. It might be published, you know, in some major way, or captured in a way that it speaks to people for a significant period of time. It's not always about the quantity. It's just about the quality of it, you know? And so I think being methodical in the things that you do, having a plan, and that way when you do things, it will be able to carry you for the long haul.
All right. Man, you just told me a lot, and I hope people are listening, because this is going to be played over and over again, and people are going to digest this and really take it in. And hopefully they marinate on what you just said, you know, let it soak in and let the juices soak in them.
Now, I hope so.
I
hope they let that one hit them. Like, you know, I think you as an actor, you could definitely be able to understand that. Like, sometimes it's not about accepting everything that comes into your orbit, but sometimes accepting the one thing that when you accept it, when it come out, is gonna have people going, "Oh, he did that. Oh, wow, I can't believe he was on this show," you know. And those are the kind of moves that you want to make, so you're not exhausting yourself out trying to do every single thing because you feel like you need to do it.
Yeah, because you can't say yes to everything. You can't. If you say yes to everything, you will burn out. You will burn out, and there'll be certain things that don't even fit you. You know, I remember I learned this from Denzel a long time ago, and he just said that, you know, he learned to really say no to certain roles. And I know a lot of people don't agree with that, but you have to know who you are. And I believe you definitely know who you are, because you have to know who you are to be able to stand in LA. You really do.
Absolutely.
I just can't believe we got just like a couple minutes left, and we've been rolling. We really have.
Dang, I feel like this went by fast. I'm like, I want to talk some more. What else can I share? What else can I give?
Hey, it's your world. If you want to drop some more nuggets, if you want to tell some more stories, it's your world. So you can tell me. We got about 5 more minutes, but I know we can probably talk a little bit longer if you need to. So I've been enjoying the time with you, and I know everybody who's been watching have really been enjoying the time. There's a lot of your friends who've been watching, so it's been pretty good. So if you want to share one more story with us, I definitely would love to hear that. Or if you want to tell us some plans for another clothing line, maybe, you know, something else. I don't know. You might not want to veil everything, but I know you got some stuff working.
I have some stuff in the pipeline. You know, some of it I can't say just yet, can't say too much, but I definitely have some cool things coming up in the pipeline. As far as the fashion line is concerned, we drop new pieces every week, every other week. We always got something new going on. We work with a bunch of new influencers and things like that. So you guys will definitely be seeing much more of us in the future. Please give us a follow at shop_with_him, HEM. And just plug in. We got a lot of exciting stuff coming up.
Man, shoot, who knows? You might be working with me pretty soon.
You know, I can see it. I already can see it.
Hey, I'll be ready. I will be ready. But I want to thank you very much, you know, Andre, for just being willing to come on my show and share your story, because a lot of people, I put this show together to really inspire people, to drive people to purpose in life, man, because I'm a firm believer life is short. And you gotta,
it really is.
You gotta live it. You have to live it. You have to live without regrets. You have to live without fear. And there was one thing. There was a speech being given, and the speaker was saying that don't ever be that person that's lying on your deathbed. And when you look around your deathbed, you see the ghost of your dreams, and they're all looking at you. And they're all looking at you, and they're saying, "We came to you throughout life, but you chose not to pursue us. You chose not to make us come to life for you. Now we all have to go to the grave together."
You don't want to be there. And I always try to live. I want to live my life in a way that I don't feel regret about the things that I did not do. I want to feel good that even if the things that I went did not pan out how I expected them to happen, that I still went and I gave them an earnest effort. And I think that's what it's all about. And, you know, I believe in God. You know, I'm a Christian, and I believe that things it's just kind of like the Bible say, all things work for those to the good of those that believe, and I believe that 100%. You know, the things that you
Yeah.
believe in for yourself, the things that you believe in for your life, if you pursue them and you put in the effort for them, things will pan out how they are supposed to pan out. And they don't mean they're gonna pan out how you want them to pan out, but they're gonna pan out how they're supposed to pan out. You know what I'm saying? Whether they
Yes.
be leading you to what you were ultimately purposed to do, or maybe the thing that you thought that you were supposed to do was your purpose all along. And I think that the journey will reveal all of those things to you. So stay committed to it, enjoy the process, and in due time.
Man, after Andre just dropped that, the mic just dropped. I think he just dropped the mic on everybody. I have really enjoyed this time. You know, I'm gonna have to catch up with you in a few months to see what's going on with everything, the career and stuff, because I'm a firm believer that COVID is not stopping anything. It's not stopping anything. You know, it can't stop anything that's intended to happen in your life. So That's why, you know, we go keep pushing, we go keep moving, we go keep grooving. What was that about the group? We go shake and we go. What was the group gonna do?
We gonna shake that thing.
Yeah. That's what we gonna do. So I want to thank everybody.
We moving and we shaking.
Yes, we are. We are moving, we shaking, we doing that. So I want to thank everyone for watching, who's going to be listening to this broadcast. My name is Rodney. I am the host, creator of this show. You can find it on Apple, RDC Speak Life Sessions. You can find it on Spotify, Google, Castbox, Anchor. Andre will be broadcasting this on his page everywhere he goes. He has all these people who love him. I see all these people who came into the party throughout the whole time. And I always close out with 3 things. Just remember to love God, love yourself, and love people. Life will be good. So that's how we roll. Thank you, everyone. Andre, I'll see you real soon, brother.
See you real soon. Cheers. Thank you.
All right. Oh, cheers. See, man, I ain't had nothing to cheer with. Well, I got a little tea. A little tea.
All right, there you go. See, cheers.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, somebody, snapping in the air.
Snapping in the air, yes.
A little finger snaps. All right, brother. Hey, take care. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.